Have you ever noticed that your avoidant partner always comes back exactly when you start to forget them? When you're moving your life forward and stop waiting for them, that's when they suddenly appear in your life. Do you think this is just a coincidence? People often assume they come back out of love, that they missed you, or that their heart can't live without you. But the real reason is something else. Have you ever wondered if their return is really about love, or just about their fear and need for control? Sometimes it feels like maybe you did something wrong, or that you're the reason they lost focus on you. But the truth is, their pattern isn't dictated by your love, it's shaped by their own insecurities and attachment style. Have you noticed this repeating pattern? Every time you focus on your life, when you decide you won't wait anymore, that's exactly when they come back. You can't help but ask yourself, is this return really about love, or just ego and control? That's why we often get confused and fall into the emotional trap. We think they truly want to connect with us now, but in reality, it's part of their strategy. In this video, we'll explore the exact psychology and reason why your avoidant partner always comes back when you start to forget them, and how you can begin to understand this cycle. You've probably felt it too. At first they start ignoring you. Messages go unanswered for hours, or even days. Sometimes they reply, but it feels distant, like they're not really there. You wait, hope, and wonder what went wrong. You might think, did I do something to push them away? But the truth is, it's not about you. It's how their avoidant attachment works. Then there are moments when you decide enough is enough. You stop waiting, stop texting first, stop making excuses for them in your mind. You start focusing on your own life, on your happiness, and on the things that truly matter to you. You begin to feel lighter, freer, like you're finally taking control of your own time and emotions. And that's exactly when they come back. A sudden message, a call, or even just a hint that they're around again. It's confusing, because right when you felt you were moving on, they appear like nothing ever happened. You catch yourself thinking, do they really care, or is it just timing? You feel pulled, unsure whether to respond, unsure whether it means something real. This is the classic avoidant pattern. When you're available, when you give them space to lean on your attention and love, they instinctively pull away. It's almost as if the more you offer, the less they feel safe to stay. But when you step back, when you create space for yourself and start prioritizing your own life, suddenly they feel a sense of loss or fear. That fear drives them to return. It can feel personal, like you're not enough, or like they only come back when it suits them. But really, it's about their own internal struggles, their fears, and their need to maintain control over how close they allow themselves to get. It's not a reflection of your value, it's about the predictable patterns of their attachment style. If you've ever experienced this, you know how confusing it feels. You're left questioning your feelings, their intentions, and even your own judgment. But recognizing this pattern is the first step to understanding why it happens, and how to stop falling into the same emotional cycle again. It's about seeing their actions clearly, and not letting your heart get trapped in the uncertainty they create. This is the avoidant attachment pattern in action. It might feel personal, but it's really about how they experience closeness and distance in relationships. When you're fully available, giving attention, support and emotional energy, they instinctively pull away. It's not because you're not enough, and it's not because they stop caring. It's because closeness triggers a fear of losing control for them, a fear that emotional vulnerability might overwhelm them. The moment you step back, start prioritizing yourself, and create healthy distance, they suddenly feel a sense of absence, like something they relied on is slipping away. That's when they return. It's almost as if the fear of losing you overrides the need to stay distant. This isn't about a sudden surge of love. It's about their internal coping mechanism. Think about it logically. Their behavior is consistent. They pull away when you're emotionally available, and they return when you're not waiting or watching for them. It's a predictable cycle, a pattern rooted in their attachment style, not in your worth or your actions. Understanding this can help you step back from emotional confusion and see their actions clearly. So why does this happen repeatedly? Avoidant individuals are wired to protect themselves from emotional dependency. When someone gets too close too quickly, it triggers discomfort or even panic in them. Pulling away feels safe, even if it creates pain for the other person. And when they sense the possibility of losing that connection completely, the fear of absence pushes them to come back. It's natural to wonder, is this love, or is it ego? That question can keep you stuck in the cycle, replaying every interaction in your mind. The key is to understand that their return is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their coping mechanisms and insecurities. Recognizing this distinction allows you to observe their behavior without letting it manipulate your emotions. By understanding the psychology behind the avoidant comeback, you start seeing the difference between genuine connection and predictable patterns of control. This awareness gives you the power to protect your heart, set boundaries, and navigate the relationship with clarity instead of confusion. It's natural to start questioning yourself in these moments. You might feel like maybe you weren't enough, that you didn't try hard enough, or that you somehow pushed them away. Every time they pull back or disappear, it can hit you in the heart, making you wonder if you somehow failed. But the truth is, it's rarely about you. The problem isn't your worth, it's their fear. When an avoidant partner pulls away, it can feel like a personal rejection. You think, why didn't they fight for me? Why didn't they stay? And for a moment, it feels like the problem is entirely on your shoulders. You start replaying every interaction, analyzing your words, your actions, your feelings, trying to find a reason, a mistake, anything that might explain why they distance themselves. But here's the truth. Their fear drives the pattern. Their discomfort with closeness, their struggle with vulnerability, and their instinct to protect themselves emotionally are what cause the push and pull cycle. It's not about your effort, your love, or your commitment. You weren't the cause of their distance, no matter how much it may feel like it. This realization can be freeing, but also painful. It's painful to acknowledge that their return, or distance, is about them, not you. Yet understanding this is essential to stop blaming yourself, and to start seeing the situation clearly. You were enough all along. Your love, your patience, your presence, it was never the issue. Think about every time you felt hurt, confused, or unsure about their intentions. That pain wasn't a reflection of your inadequacy, it was the result of their fears, their avoidance, and the way they cope with emotional closeness. Once you recognize this, you can begin to separate your feelings from their patterns, and stop internalizing the confusion and heartache they create. It's time to shift your perspective. Instead of questioning your worth, start acknowledging their limitations, and the predictable nature of their avoidant behavior. Accepting this allows you to feel compassion, not guilt, and to protect your heart without losing yourself. The cycle isn't your fault, you simply have to understand it to navigate it wisely. Once you grasp this, every confusing text, every sudden disappearance, and every unexpected return becomes less about your failures, and more about their internal struggle. And that understanding can give you the clarity you've been searching for. I want to share a story that might sound familiar. One of my friends went through something almost identical. For months, her avoidant partner kept their distance. Messages were often delayed, calls were short, and whenever she tried to get closer, he seemed to pull back. She kept hoping, waiting, and wondering if he would ever truly commit. She questioned herself constantly. Was she not enough? Was she doing something wrong? Then one day, she reached a point where she decided she couldn't keep waiting. She realized that her happiness couldn't depend on someone who was constantly unsure about being present. She made a choice. She would focus on herself, her passions, and the life she wanted, without waiting for his attention or approval. That very day, almost like clockwork, he called. He was emotional, even teary, trying to explain, apologize, and reconnect. For a moment, it seemed like everything she had been waiting for finally happened, and naturally, It was tempting for her to respond, to give him the space to explain himself and to try again. But here's the crucial part. This wasn't a sudden surge of love or realization on his part. It was the exact avoidant pattern in motion. The moment she became unavailable, the moment she stepped away from waiting and started prioritizing herself, he felt a loss, a fear of losing control, and the need to regain connection. It wasn't about her finally being enough. It was about his own internal struggles and fears. This story highlights a reality many of us face. Avoidant partners often return when they feel the possibility of losing someone tangible. It can feel emotional, confusing, and even validating in the moment. But it's not always a sign of genuine transformation or love. Recognizing this pattern helps us see the difference between their strategy and our own worth. By understanding stories like this, you start noticing patterns in your own life, the push and pull cycles, and the triggers that bring avoidant partners back. It's a reminder that while the emotions may be real, the reasons behind them are not always about you. Observing this pattern allows you to maintain clarity, protect your heart, and decide consciously how to respond instead of being swept up in the cycle. Here's the part many people never truly realize. You've seen it happen, maybe even felt it yourself. Your avoidant partner disappears, creates distance, and then suddenly returns. At first you might think, oh, they finally realized their love for me. They can't live without me. It feels validating, almost like the universe is giving you proof that your love matters, that they were missing you all along. But the truth is far more revealing, and far more strategic than it feels. Avoidant partners return, not necessarily because they suddenly love you more, not because they've had an emotional epiphany, but because they cannot tolerate the thought of losing control. When you begin to move on, when you start living your life without waiting for them, that's when the fear kicks in. Imagine the scenario. You're living your life, confident, happy, and no longer obsessing over their absence. You're not texting, not calling, not waiting, and then they come back. It's almost as if the universe timed it perfectly. That fear of losing you, the idea that someone they relied on might completely slip away, becomes unbearable, and that's what drives them to return. It's not about a sudden flood of love, or a realization that they can't live without you. It's about their internal need to regain a sense of control, to feel secure, to ensure that they haven't truly lost the connection they once had. And this is what often confuses people the most. They see the return, the tears, the apologies, the effort, and they interpret it as genuine transformation, or newfound love. But recognizing the pattern changes everything. Understanding that their return is about fear, control, and attachment, not sudden love, helps you step back, observe, and avoid falling into the same emotional trap. You start to see the push and pull for what it really is, instead of being swept away by temporary emotions. This revelation might feel harsh, but it's empowering. It's the key to breaking free from confusion and heartbreak. By realizing the real reason behind their return, you can respond with clarity, protect your emotions, and decide consciously whether to engage or maintain your boundaries. This understanding is the turning point, the moment when you stop chasing the illusion and start seeing the pattern for what it truly is. Now that you've seen the patterns, the fears, and the predictable cycles of avoidant behavior, it's time to focus on what really matters, you. It's easy to get caught in confusion, heartbreak, and self-doubt when someone returns unexpectedly. You start questioning your worth, your choices, and even your ability to recognize love. But here's the truth. Your value is never dependent on someone else's presence or absence. You have a choice. You can continue to feel confused, replaying their actions in your mind, and hoping for validation. Or, you can take a step back and realize that their behavior is about them, not you. Every time they pull away or return, it is not a judgment on your worth, your love, your patience, your care. It all has value independent of how they act. This awareness gives you power. When you understand the avoidant pattern, you start noticing the signs early. You recognize when their return is motivated by fear or control, not love. And that clarity allows you to decide consciously how to respond. Instead of reacting out of hope or desperation, you start creating boundaries that protect your emotions and your peace of mind. Imagine what it feels like to live free of the constant push and pull, to stop letting their absence or return dictate your happiness. You begin to focus on your passions, your growth, and the relationships that truly honor you. You realize that you are worthy of consistency, respect, and care, not temporary bursts of attention that leave you uncertain. Empowerment comes from choice. Every time you choose yourself over confusion, you reclaim your energy and your confidence. You stop waiting for someone else to validate your value and start recognizing it within yourself. This doesn't mean you stop caring or loving. It means you care for yourself first, and that foundation makes all the difference. So as you move forward, remember this: their actions do not define your worth. Their fear does not determine your happiness. You have the ability to observe, understand, and protect your heart, while still being open to love that is healthy, consistent, and reciprocal. This is where true empowerment begins, when you take control of your emotions, your boundaries, and your life. Thank you so much for staying with me through this video. We've covered a lot: why avoidant partners pull away, why they return, and the psychology behind their patterns. I know this can feel heavy, emotional, and even confusing at times, but understanding these patterns is the first step to taking back control of your own heart and your life. Remember, it's not about blaming yourself or questioning your worth. Their behavior is a reflection of their fears, insecurities, and attachment style, not of your value. You have the power to observe, understand, and respond in ways that protect your emotions and your peace of mind. You are enough, just as you are. And here's the exciting part: there's more to learn. In the next video, we're going even deeper. I'll show you how to identify avoidant patterns early, before they trap you in the same push and pull cycle again. You'll learn the signs, the triggers, and the steps you can take to prevent confusion and heartbreak. This is about giving you clarity, confidence, and the tools to navigate relationships with awareness. So don't miss the next video. Trust me, once you understand these patterns, you'll see your relationships in a completely new light. You'll recognize the difference between genuine connection and predictable cycles of avoidance. And most importantly, you'll feel empowered to make choices that honor your heart and your well-being. Thank you again for watching, for trusting yourself enough to learn, and for taking this journey toward clarity and self-awareness. Remember, your value is not dependent on anyone else. It's always there. Stay tuned for the next video, because it's going to change the way you see avoidant relationships forever.